So recently, I just finished Persona 1, and I thought it was pretty good. The version I played was PSP, and honestly, I'm kinda glad. I mean, look at PS1. Look at the map, and look how you navigate. Like, what the fuck is this shit, bro? Honestly, people are like, oh, they should remake Persona 1. Oh, they should remake Persona 2. They did remake them. It's on the PSP instead of the PS1. And honestly, it's like 100 times better. I don't know how Persona 2 is, but I can say for sure Persona 1, it's way better on the PSP. Let me just tell you that. So in Persona 1, you play as this nameless character like always in Persona 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know about 2. Again, I do not know about 2, but 3, 4, 5, you play as a nameless character kind of, and he's referred to as Earring Boy. Like, just because somebody has an earring, they're called Earring Boy. So, because of this chronically ill girl, she's like jealous that everybody's like healthy and shit. Her ego and mind and consciousness gets used and abused by this guy named Kondori to basically fuck up and destroy the world or create an alternate world where things are kind of completely different. Where like the principal is like A-okay, there's no fire department, there's no cops because it's an ideal world. And we go back and forth between those worlds and fight these demons. They're not really shadows in this game. They're called demons, not shadows. It's kind of weird. Persona 1 and I think Persona 2 are kind of dungeon crawlers compared to Persona 3, 4, 5. And there's not really any social links in Persona 1 as far as I can tell. If you guys don't know what a dungeon crawler is, it's an old style of an RPG game, like maybe Dragon Quest or the actual Shin Megami Tensei series. Oh yeah, the Persona franchise is basically like a subsidiary or spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. Gameplay-wise, I actually really enjoyed it. It's just that when you're walking on the streets, every like 5 steps, you get an encounter. And then eventually, you grind and grind and grind. So you're like 1,000 levels above the enemy, and then you're just instantly killing them or you're skipping them through the emulator skip button. Because honestly, if you're gonna play it, I say that you play on an emulator or you play on the actual PSP. Because PS1, it's pretty old. I don't know if you should use your PS1 because if it crashes, y'all know old consoles may crash and you have to do all this extra stuff. It was really easy for me to get Persona 1, except for the time I accidentally downloaded it in Japanese instead of English at first. That was entirely on me. There's also this thing where you can talk to the demons and get their spell cards, which is kind of in Persona 5 as well. I played through all of Persona 5, so I know what happens. I played a Persona game. You have to basically use somebody's comment to persuade the demon to join you or whatever. It's a little bit hard if you don't know what you're doing, but you get used to it. Personally, I think the characters were pretty fine. There's actually 2 ways you could have gone. You could have gone the Snow Queen and then the Sebek route. The way I went was the Sebek route, where you took down Kondori and saved Maki. But I don't know what happens at the Snow Queen. I think you enter like an ice palace or something. That's probably what you do since the boss is called Snow Queen or the Snow Queen route. Also, let me just point this out. They completely changed Mark's character. Not his dialogue or anything, not his personality. His appearance got changed from a black kid to some Japanese kid with weird markings on his face from the original to the PSP version. And I can't stress this enough. Maybe they changed it because some of the remarks that the other characters were calling Mark were a bit racist. They were literally calling him a dumb monkey or an ape. Yo, this is CherryZero in post-editing, and this was kind of a mistake. They actually changed Mark from Japanese to black, and they changed the characters' names from the Japanese names to American localized versions when they ported the 1996 Japanese Persona 1 to the 1996 USA version. So they actually did it better in the PSP version than the American localized PlayStation 1 version. They literally botched it up so bad. Okay. Continuing on. I think mainly it's because of his personality, because he was the Yosuke or the Junpei of the game, like the dumb best friend type. But he wasn't really the best friend of the main character. He was best friends with, like, everybody was best friends with each other, you know? But I still find it kind of funny, like, hey yo, Atlas, Sega, what are you guys doing? Going back to the characters, I played through with the brown route. So I played the brown route and the Sebek route. I don't know if you choose a route and you can get characters that way, but I just got brown, and honestly, I feel like I got a good enough experience. You could have picked Ayase or the big sister or like the the pretty rich girl, I think. No, I think the rich person was the bib boy, the bib boy. But the Nike goddess persona user, whatever her name is, and Reiji, the fucking 8th grader syndrome looking ass. Brown and Mark's dynamic was pretty good. They were like the two friends that fight, but they're like, when times are tough, they're there for each other. It's like the rival Ace Attorney type shit, but they're like actual friends. They're not like too much of a rival. What are they rivaling about? It's just schoolboy banter, right? It's a pretty short game if you only play one route, but it's also a pretty long game if 90% of the time you're like, hey, yo, where the fuck do I go next? Because that was me. I did not know where I had to go next. I literally was like, okay, where do I go now? Where do I go now? And it took me hours. So I was actually recording it, and I had to cut out pretty much half or more than half most of the time when I'm playing it, because a lot of it's just fights or unnecessary fights of me just walking and trying to find the way. I mean, I guess that's the average dungeon seeker. And the music. The music is always superb. Let me tell you. The PSP version, it's like Persona 3, obviously, but obviously the remake came out in 2009, so who figured? After Persona 3 and Persona 4, who figured? Lone Prayer, holy shit, it's such a bop. Even after hearing it like 8,000 times, I fucking love it still. Even going off of the PSP music, the PS1 music is pretty good. The PS1 is more of a grunge rock 90s synth, while mainly the PSP version is a 90s synth dungeon crawler type of music. I do like rock, and I do like that electronic synth type music, so it really does work. Pretty much every single game has really good music, and Persona 1 is no exception. Some cons of playing this is that it's like the old save state. If you die without saving for a long time, you get teleported all the way back to that save point. It doesn't automatically save. You have to save at the right spot. Because sometimes I don't save and I accidentally enter a boss's room. I did that with the final boss of the Sebek route. And I did not win because I was like 20 levels lower than the enemies in the dungeon, but still, always save. That's the rule. Always save, or else you're gonna get fucked. But there's also the problem of if you save too much and then you save at the spot where you can't escape, you're also fucked. So maybe save in 2 spots. I just did 1 because I kind of know what I'm doing. That's pretty much the main problem. The other problem would probably have to be like the quality, but you could just download mods for that. And some of the plot twists, like I could have predicted them. There's 2, I don't really want to explain them, but there's a plot twist while I was playing, and I literally figured that shit out hours before it was revealed. Like, I mean, it was pretty obvious, but still. It's a game originally written in 1996, and it was on the PS1, so what do you expect? But the story was still pretty good for the time, and it was the first game of that series, so I'll give them some slack. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say. For the rating, I would give it a 4 stars or an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. So guys, if you guys like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. My name's CherryZero, and I will see you guys next time.